For those that don't know, in the music industry, like 90% of the music a label puts out usually goes nowhere. Especially when you're talking about new artists. Like the hit rate for new artists is so low that I tell people investing in scratch off lottery tickets is actually a better investment than a than a new artist. If you look at all the artists that get, invested in, trying to break an artist is one of the hardest things in the world. But you put together this album and it goes platinum.
Well, it didn't go platinum at first. We bricked. When the album first came out, I think we sold about 1,000 copies, which back then was horrible. The label bought more copies than that, you know. But I started just touring a lot. Like everybody else needed a check, but just like I took it. First of all, I came from prison, so I didn't have nothing. So it wasn't like I had a lifestyle, thank God, to uphold. And I thought about those CDs that I sold for $1. When everybody was trying to get money to go on tour, and then they say no because the money was too low, I was like, I go out for free. I still got a little bit of money left over from the little check they gave me. I'm gonna just go ahead and bet on me. And I did all that stuff for free. And in every little spot that I performed at, the album starts selling. Every little spot, a couple more albums, and then pretty much before you know it, Must Be Nice took off. The album was gold on the way to platinum, and.
So at what point, like how much time passed from the moment that you released the album to the point where the album really started to pick up?
We released this album probably like in April, and it really started picking up towards November, December. That's when the record caught on, and that's when I was probably like halfway through really touring. Like I had been everywhere probably 3 times already.
So you spent 6 months on promo tour pretty much.
Yeah, broke. Like I was, it seemed like 90,000 is a lot of money, but 6 months, and you know what I'm saying? But I made it work.
Okay. So because if it wasn't for you doing that, the label probably would have just scrapped the project.
Absolutely, but I will say in Donnie Ienner's defense with that is that nobody else knew what to do with me. All the other labels that had offered me stuff, they didn't have they didn't have a plan for me. But Donnie Ienner told me that day. He said, "Life, I think people still want to discover music." This was his exact words. He said, "People still want to discover music. They don't want it rammed down their throat through radio. So what we're gonna do is I need you to find every show that you can get on. I need you to just go do it. Even if it's low money, do it." You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So as you're touring and going around the country like this, the record starts to pick up and the single starts to pick up. What does the label start to do different once they see this type of movement?
That's when they started to put money into the single. They was like, okay, now it's time to get the radio picture. We got the street picture because he all over the place touring. Now let's get the radio picture.
Okay. And that's where the $1 million deal, part of the money from that started to pour into
That's
radio.
where it kicked in. Videos. They started putting me in clothes. They ain't like the way that I dressed. They called me, it was a huge meeting on the way that I dressed because I was just getting out of prison. Like I had, anything was fly to me, you know? Yeah.
You needed a stylist.
Yeah, I needed a stylist, man. A miracle.
Okay. So how did it feel to suddenly have an album, have a hit single, gold album, platinum album, like everything you'd been working on since you were, 10 years old, suddenly it all came together?
You know what? I didn't really feel it at first because I was always on the road, like literally. Like I had a house that had no furniture and nothing like that in it. I was just on the road. And then one day I was just home outside and it just dawned on me like, damn, like, you know what I'm saying? You didn't did this, man. And it just felt like, I can't even explain how it felt. It was just like a peace. Like, I'm all right,
Well, now you have a platinum selling album and you've recouped the money that Columbia or Sony had put up.
Yeah.
So now you actually have money coming in. Like once you start having real money came in, like what did you start to spend it on, and what started changing your life?
Spending on bullshit. Like, again, I was still in my prison mentality, but I was buying cars and shit. I bought so much shit I don't even know, man. Like, mainly cars though, man. As our young dudes do, man. You get a little money. I bought some cars. I had some jewelry, And my family got some stuff, man, and yeah.
What do you think was like the biggest waste of money that you had during that time? Like the single purchase that you're like, yo, I can't believe I just spent money on that. Like I've interviewed Scott Storch, and he told me some just insane shit that he just wasted his money on during his heyday. Okay, hold on. We're gonna lay them all out. We got the blunt roller, the captain.
Yeah.
So the captain was on full-time staff?
Yeah.
In case you want to take the boat out.
Yeah.
And the boat was how many bedrooms?
7.
7-bedroom boat, worth about how much?
20 million.
20 million. Okay, so of course you had to get the captain. Then a driver. Okay. Who else?
4 security guards.
4 security guards, so that's
3 maids. Assistants. It goes. My my monthly overhead for my household and household employees was somewhere in the neighborhood of like $1 million a month I was spending.
You were spending $1 million a month in
Between
salaries.
the cars, no, just salaries, the mortgage,
Your burn rate every month.
I was burning $1 million a month.
You're burning $1 million a month between your mortgage. Did you own the boat outright, or you had a mortgage on it?
One of them I owned outright. There was a few boats.
Had a few boats.
Yeah.
Right. So between the staff, the mortgage, the cars.
Let's just say cocaine is a hell of a drug. What is that? Chappelle said.
Yeah, Scott. I know that guy. What did I spend some money on that was just crazy? What did I? I don't know. Like I say, the majority of stuff that I bought was cars. But I will say that, like, I had cars that might have been a year old and they had like 400 miles on them, like stuff like that. So when I used to come home, I'll be like, damn, why I got this car? Like, and I don't even drive the damn thing,
Like, how many cars did you have at one time?
Then I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 cars at one time.
You had 6 cars at one time, but you were on tour all the time, so
All the time, and none of them had miles on them. None of them had miles on them, man.
Yeah, I feel you, man. That's pretty wasteful right there, I gotta say.
Yeah.
But first time you get money, you don't know any better.
Right.
So you have a platinum album, and then you continue to drop albums on Sony. Mm-hmm. How does the second and third album do?
Second album went gold. Third album went gold.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Never Neverland, that was, which album was that?
I think that was my third album.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember you had this line where you said, 30 ain't the new 20. It's the same old 30.
Damn
Don't be
sure
mad
right.
at me, Jay.
Damn sure right. By then I was 30 and I knew it wasn't 20.
Explain the significance of that line, because I always thought that was a dope line.
Well, that was like a fad going around. 30 is the new 20, 30 is the new 20, which like you can still do the stuff in your 30s that you did when you was 20. But I was just more on the line, like you got kids now, you got responsibilities. Like you got to curb your appetite to fill their appetite, That's what the line was.